Answer was 29. The answer should be 80. Last one. Answer is -8. You had all three right. Pick a number from 1 to 10, bring it up and drop it off. The winning numbers today are 3 and 7. Today's lesson is enhanced for smartphones. From here on out, you'll have things that you can scan. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you have an iPhone, download this app. If you don't have an iPhone or a Samsung or something like that, then download a app that is a QR reader. They should be free. No need to spend any money on bells and whistles. As long as it scans it, you'll be fine. Throughout times in the class, you'll see these codes come up on the screen. You're free to get up and scan it. It'll take you to different examples, websites, whatever, that directly relate to what we're doing here. So if you need another explanation on stuff, then you can use that. It also helps to study for the test. Also, for your test answer sheets from now on, they will have these codes on there, and you can scan it as an instant lottery ticket. It'll either say, yes, you won, or no, try again. And if you don't have a phone at all and can't scan anything, somebody beside you can scan your answer sheet for you. But either way, you have to bring it up here and tell me you're a winner, and then I scan it to confirm it. Answer sheets won't be passed out in any particular order. They'll be shuffled up, and I'll even let you come up and pick which answer sheet you want. So out of a class of 27, there may be 10 winners out of 27. All right, for today, to convert polar coordinates to rectangular coordinates. Example number 1. Convert 2 and pi over 4 to rectangular coordinates. So there's the graph. And we have to go to pi over 4 first, because that's what the problem told us to do. Once you do that, you mark off 2. You have to go to the ring that is the second ring out from the center and make a dot. From there, you're going to have to make your triangle, like this. It's a right triangle. Always make your right angle connect with the x-axis. No other side. It will always go to the x-axis. Drop from the point to the x-axis. And you fill in the information that you know. Up and down is going to be y. And left to right is going to be x. The r value here is 2. You could also think of that as a radius. And remember the formulas to find each item, x and y. For y, it's r sine theta. For x, it's r cosine theta. You can use the trigonometric functions to find these, but it all boils down to this multiplication. So there's no need to set up the proportion every time. Y equals r sine theta, x equals r cosine theta. So back to the problem. This is r, and we are at pi over 4. Pi over 4 is of no use to us in terms of degrees, because we have to convert it to degrees. So pi over 4 equals 180 over pi, and simplify that. Cancel out the pi's to be left with 180 over 4. And of course that will give you 45 degrees. That represents theta. So with that 45 degrees that we just found here, you can solve for x and solve for y. So for x, it's 2 times cosine 45, and for y, it's 2 sine 45. In both cases, they come out to be the same answer. And as we answered last week, that's because since this is a 45-degree angle, this must also be 45. 45, 45, 90 triangles have 2 sides that are the same, just like we have here. Now this is the y value, this is the x value. Now you have to check for your signs to make sure these are both going to be positive, both negative, or split. So in quadrant number 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have different sign patterns that you can follow. In quadrant 1, it's plus plus. Quadrant 2 is negative plus. Quadrant 3 is negative, negative. And quadrant 4 is plus negative. These will always be the case, regardless of the signs of the answers that you come up with. This will always be the case. We were in quadrant number 1, so therefore our answer is plus plus. 1.41, 1.41. Those are the rectangular XY coordinates for the answer. Example problem number 2. We have 5 and 5 pi over 6. The first thing we have to do is go find 5 pi over 6. 5 pi over 6 is circled, and then we have to go out to the 5th ring and put a dot. What axis do we draw the line to? X-axis. So when we do that, this is the triangle that comes up. 5 is the radius, that's r. Y is up and down, x is left and right. Remember the formulas. R cosine theta for x and r sine theta for y. 5 pi over 6, we must do what? Convert, which has a t on the end of it. There we go. So 5 pi over 6 times 180 over pi. The pi's cancel out, and you're left with 150 degrees. But keep in mind that 150 degrees does not necessarily reflect theta. 150 degrees is this. Now this right here, if I went from here all the way around, how many degrees is that? 180 degrees. And from here to here, we just found that is how much? 150. So 180 minus 150 is how many degrees? 30. That would be the value for theta in your problem. So 30 degrees, and we found that from 180 minus 150. So now you have to solve for x and solve for y. Remember the formulas. For x, it's going to be x equals 5 cosine 30 degrees. That's r cosine theta. And that comes out to be 4.33 when you punch it in on the calculator. And then for y, it's r sine 30. If you punch that in and multiply, it should be 2.50. What's the next thing we have to figure out for the answer? Yeah, check for the signs. Yeah. So we are in quadrant 2, so our signs are negative plus. Therefore, your first one is negative, the second one is positive. So negative 4.33 and 2.5 will be the rectangular coordinates for this, converting from polar. Are there any questions before we go to the practice? Yes. Scan below to learn about converting polar coordinates to rectangular coordinates in a given point. If you need a different explanation than what you just heard, get your phone out and come up and scan this, and it'll take you to a different explanation. Practice problem number 1. Convert 6 17 pi over 12 to rectangular coordinates. On this, to find theta, what we'll do is we'll zoom in and we'll go to 17 pi over 12, which should be this. There we go. 17 pi over 12 represents this spoke. I need a thicker line. It represents this spoke. Now, if you're going to find theta, the first thing you have to do is draw from this down to the x-axis. What was the radius value? 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right here. You go straight down to the x-axis. Remember, theta is going to be this value here. It is true that from here all the way over is 255 degrees, but you do not need all of that. Remember, how many degrees is it from here over to here? 90 degrees. And what is the value of this spoke here, this little wedge of the pie that is not being used? 15 degrees. 90 minus 15 is how much? 75 degrees. Yes. So if you did not get that right, you'll know now that's what you have to do. You're only looking for the value of theta inside the triangle. 90 degrees, there. So it comes out to be 75. Keep 75 in mind. And now, for bonus problem number 1, simply tell me what 3 pi over 2 is in degrees. The answer to that bonus problem should be 270 degrees. Practice problem number 2. Convert 4 and 11 pi over 6 to rectangular coordinates. Now, we'll try to take it a step further, maybe, on this. Remember 4 and 11 pi over 6. What is theta? Next, what I need is the value of x. I need the value of x. Find the value of y. For 11 pi over 6, notice that this is 11 pi over 6 here. Now we continue on with this. The point is 4. So we come out 1, 2, 3, 4 there. To find the value for x, x equals 4 times cosine 30 degrees. And that turned out to be 3.46. Next up, we have to find y. And remember, y equals 4 sine of 30 degrees. And when you put that in your calculator, it comes back to be 2. However, you're in the 4th quadrant and you're below the x-axis. Therefore, it is -2 for the answer. To know what is negative and positive, we'll make the quadrant list like this. And this is x, this is y. This is going to be quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And your sign values should be the following. Plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, minus, and plus, minus. That's something that you have to remember. Bonus problem number 2. What is the value of pi in terms of degrees? The answer should be 180. Practice problem number 3. Convert 3 and pi over 3 to rectangular coordinates. What is theta? What is the value of x rounded to the nearest hundredth? Alright, for the value of theta, remember that our point is 3 and pi over 3. So for theta, we're going to have to go to pi over 3, which is here. Go straight down to the center, and the point is 3. And you draw your triangle like this. Remember, this is x, this is y, and this is going to be 3. The value of y is 3 times sine of 60, and for x it is 3 times cosine 60. This should be 1.5 positive for x, and then if you do the sine of 60 in your calculator and multiply it by 3, you'll come back with 2.60. 2.60 rounded to the nearest hundredths place. Bonus number 3, convert 2 pi to degrees. The answer should be 360 degrees. Practice problem number 4. Convert 5 and 4 pi over 3 to rectangular coordinates. First up, we need theta. What is the value of x? What is the value for y? To find theta, we must first graph this out. 4 pi over 3 is down here at the bottom. So 4 pi over 3 goes back like this. And the point is 5, which is right there. We'll go this way. You have 2 pieces of 15 degrees that are not being used in this area. So if I take 30 degrees away from 90, that's going to give me 60 in here. This is x, this is y. Okay, for x, remember that's going to be 5 times cosine 60 degrees, which comes out to be 2.5. However, you are in the 3rd quadrant. Everything's negative, so it should be negative 2.5. To find y, remember y equals sine 60 degrees, and you have to multiply that by the radius, which is 5. When you do that, you should come out with 4.33, but remember you're in the 3rd quadrant, so it should be negative 4.33. Exit slips. These can be found up here on the table. Fill in the information at the top and write at least one sentence at the bottom about today's class. Put it here on the corner of the table when you're finished. And for your homework assignment tonight, notice you have a code on the right side of the screen. If you have that reader ready, you can scan that code and it'll give you a clean copy of that homework without having to have a weird lighting or anything like that that distorts your picture. You can come up and scan it. If you do, it may take you to Dropbox, and if it does, there should be a download button in the top right. There should be a download button in the top right. You would click that and then click direct download. From that, you can take a screenshot when it pops up.